Abandoned is another movie with the word abandoned in the title that is just not really good. We're 0 for 2 with movies that have abandoned in the title. As you may have caught in a previous video, I watched a movie called The Abandoned with Louisa Krause in it that was just not good. And here we have Abandoned, which I had higher hopes for because I saw a trailer for it on a Blu-ray I was watching, and it has Emma Roberts in it. So I will watch anything that has Emma Roberts in it. I watched this movie with my wife on Canopy, which is a streaming service that you can get with a library membership in some library systems, and we are fortunate enough to have it because it is probably my favorite streaming service that I have, and we don't have any, so by default it's my favorite, but also it has a really deep catalog, and everything I've looked for on there, they've had it almost. So anyway, Emma Roberts could not save this movie. It's kind of a haunted house horror movie, and again, the trailer made it look like it could be pretty decent, but it just doesn't come together in any meaningful way. The story is a little bit confusing. The acting from everybody else except Emma Roberts seems a little bit phoned in, and the thing about it is that it had potential. It just feels like there was no overall direction on what this movie should be. And unfortunately, it just doesn't come together. So we're starting off not so strong this week. Next, we have The Ghost Snatchers, which is another Lam Nai Choi movie. This is the second one I've seen after The Cat. I still have not seen The Story of Ricky, but I definitely intend to. This one is another kind of action comedy that goes in so many different directions that a plot synopsis just won't do it justice. But in a nutshell, there's a haunted high-rise in Hong Kong, and our heroes have to get to the bottom of it and dispel the evil spirits that are causing trouble. It's fun, it's actiony. There's a set piece at the end, like the last 15 minutes of this movie are just absolutely amazing. There's a fight with a skeleton that I'm not exactly sure how they even did it, but it looks amazing. And so far, Lam Nai Choi movies, I know I'm going to love every one that I see, so I'm just going to keep trying to find them and watch them. Next, we have Sun Above, Death Below, 1968 Japanese kind of noir action movie about a hitman assassin dude who... So Sun Above, Death Below, that was a winner. Next we have Sex and Fury, which is not the only movie on this week's list where the title of the movie tells you exactly what you're going to get. So this one features most infamously the naked sword fight by Riko Ike. And I know a little bit of Japanese, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but she kills it in this movie. It's amazing. It's a revenge action flick with a lot of sex, unfortunately. Like, I don't love all the sex scenes in these movies. It's not as bad as the Nikatsu movies I watched in previous videos, but it's, you know, I could do without it. This also has Christina Lundberg in it from Thriller, or They Call Her One Eye. It's kind of awesome to see her in this. She speaks a little Japanese. It's really neat. And the other thing I really loved about this is there's a connection to Hanafuda, which I've talked about before. You see it in a lot of Japanese movies because it's as ubiquitous as Western playing cards are here. So there's a lot of symbolism culturally. But on this one, there's a hand in Koi Koi called the boar deer butterfly combination, and that plays a major part of the plot. And I was like, oh, I love that. I know what that is. I understand like how that plays in the card game. As cool as some parts of this movie are, like, I don't know, I gave it 3 stars. Maybe if I watched it again, I would like it even more. But it's one of those movies that I liked, but it was just I don't know. I just didn't feel like rating it higher than 3 stars, but it is really cool. And the naked sword fight really is as awesome as everybody makes it sound. Next, we have Collateral. I feel like I don't have to spend a lot of time on this one because most people have seen it. In fact, the reason I watched it is because it is in the zeitgeist on like film Twitter, and there's tons of YouTube videos about it, breaking down the lighting and all that stuff. So I figured, wow, I've never seen that. And I haven't seen too many Michael Mann movies. I saw Manhunter a long time ago. I've seen Heat several times, but I've never seen Collateral. So I bought the Blu-ray and watched it the other day. And I, of course, really liked this movie. I kind of knew I would. And yeah, I don't have much to say about it. If you're not familiar with it, Tom Cruise plays a hitman who's going around LA doing hits, and he kind of takes Jamie Foxx's character hostage, and Jamie Foxx's character is a cab driver. So Tom Cruise's character makes him drive him around LA while he's killing people, and things kind of spiral out of control from there. It's a tension-filled action thriller. Great movie. Next we have V, which is another one that's kind of going around the zeitgeist. This whole movie is available on YouTube in high quality with no ads and with English subtitles. It is a Russian movie from 1967 based on a folk tale. And man, I rated it pretty highly, but I do agree with what some people said in reviews that as fantastical as it is, and it's also a shorter movie, it's just over an hour long, it gets a little boring at times, which is a weird combination. It almost reminded me of the movie Bloody New Year, which is a movie that's just so interesting with what's going on in the movie, but at times it's really sluggish to get to those interesting parts. But V is about a seminarian who meets up with a witch after him and his brothers get lost in the woods one day, and then he beats the witch to death, but then he's called upon to proceed over her wake, which is like this multi-day thing that he has to do. So she comes back to life and haunts his ass, and it's great. And there are certain camera tricks that I really liked. There's one thing where he gets drunk, and the drunkenness is simulated by a projection screen kind of twisting off the axis of the camera, which is still with the character in the foreground. I thought, wow, that was really cool. But it only lasts for like 3 seconds, and then you're on to the next thing. And there's all kinds of other special effects that I really appreciated here. So I probably rated it a little higher than my actual enjoyment of it, but some of the moments in this movie really stuck with me and I thought were so well done and inventive. So let's go on to the next movie here. So this is Penumbra. Penumbra is a case of don't judge a movie by the box art, because this looks like some kind of Hostel, Saw, torture porn kind of movie based on having Christina Brando tied up and gagged on the cover. But that's not what it is. It's a movie about her character is renting out an apartment to some guy who wants to pay up front for a whole year, and he's gonna lay down way more money than she's asking. And although she is suspicious, she meets with these quote-unquote real estate agents who you find out are kind of gaslighting her. And it's one of those movies that's more about the tension of a character being gaslit and things not being what they seem. And I don't want to say too much about what is actually going on, because as it reveals itself, it comes to a very satisfying conclusion that is, I won't spoil it, but let's just say it's not exactly a happy ending. And it's, although there's violence in it, it is not torture porn. It is not harrowing, traumatizing violence. So check it out if you can find it. Next is Extro, which is a science fiction film that was recommended recently on the Cobwebs channel in a video that he called Bonkers Movies That You Have to See. And he called this was at near the top of the list, and it looked very interesting. Now, for me, I don't know if it's because I'm watching too many Lam Nai Choi movies in recent memory, and he actually did recommend another Lam Nai Choi movie that I haven't seen yet in this YouTube video. But Extro, as bonkers as it is, I just thought it was kind of an okay movie. There are some really cool special effects. It's an alien abduction, alien invasion thing. It has a lot of parallels with The Thing, although don't think like going into this movie that it's going to be a ripoff of The Thing. It's just, it has that kind of setup, and it does just have some great crazy scenes, and there's also some subtextual things that I don't know if I was correct when I was picking up on them. So there are layers to this movie, but it is just kind of a wild sci-fi alien thing. So I do recommend it if you want to watch something wacky, but I wouldn't sell it as like one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in a movie, but pretty neat. And I'm glad I did check it out. Next we have Female Vampire. And this is I had an interesting experience with this one because I saw on Twitter somebody posted some screenshots, and I thought, wow, that looks like a really cool movie. So I saw these screenshots of Lina Romay, and I went and downloaded this movie immediately. And then I opened it on my laptop, scrubbed through it, and realized it's a porno. It's a softcore porno, but it's a little bit more of a porno than a Roman porno. So I'm not into that. So I said, well, shame. I'm not going to watch this movie, as cool as it looks. As it turns out, coincidence or not, I don't know how, but Mr. Cooper on Twitter, who I've talked about many times, later that day, that very day, and maybe he saw the same tweet I did, or maybe this movie's just going around the zeitgeist again. He posts two versions of the film, because I didn't realize the history of this film, that there were many different cuts of it. He posted the version that I had already downloaded, which was a softcore porno, and what's called the horror cut, which is the alternative title is Erotic Kill, and this was the US theatrical cut, which is dubbed in English. And the dub is really bad, but that enabled me to watch the movie with a somewhat clean conscience, right? I do not want to get in the habit of reviewing pornography on Letterboxd or on YouTube. So rest assured, that's not going to happen. However, this movie, the version I watched, I thought it was excellent. I loved it. I thought it was a very beautiful movie. Now, be advised, Lina Romay walks around the screen nude for most of the movie. It's kind of like the movie Life Force, if you've ever seen that. And this movie actually came out just a couple years after Twins of Evil, which is another kind of sexy vampire movie. It's one of those movies where, yeah, you get a lot of TNA and that's great, but it will also get under your skin and kind of just stick with you. And I don't know if everybody will have that same experience, because there are some really bad parts of the English dub, and there's some bordering on awkward scenes with the main male character. But overall, I really like this, and with all the softcore stuff cut out, this movie is just over an hour. So it would be honestly a cool double feature to do with V, the movie I mentioned previously. Next, we have Extraterrestrial. Now, this movie stars Brittany Allen, who I just saw and talked about in the movie It Stains the Sands Red, which I really like that movie. This movie, Extraterrestrial, came before that one and was directed by the same director and stars Brittany Allen. So they have worked together a few times, apparently. This movie is a movie that I can say I didn't like, but I can recommend it to anybody. I have a lot of movies that I talk about where I say I really love them, but I don't want to recommend them. This is the opposite. I didn't really get into this one, but I thought it was cool enough that I could say, if you want to see a action horror that involves alien invasion, this could be right up your alley. I just didn't really connect with the characters. I thought, and I hate to say this, I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, this movie doesn't do anything new. I hate when people say that, because does every movie you see have to do something new? Are you never going to listen to the Kinks because the Beatles existed first? Like, I'm not that kind of person. However, this in a way felt like just watching a not as good X-Files episode with some extra action parts put in. But I do like Brittany Allen, and it's worth noting that the ending of this movie is pretty awesome. So if you come across it, you definitely can't go wrong if you're looking for just a fun, action-y alien horror. And then last, we're going to end with a really cool one. It's What's Inside from last year. I freaking love this movie. I watched it this morning, but I don't think it's recency bias. I looked for reasons to give this movie 5 stars, but I thought I need to watch it again and really think through it, because it is one of those movies that if you're going to go watch this, don't put it on if you're groggy or like, I'm glad I watched this movie in the morning, because sometimes I watch movies after work and I can be a little sluggish and groggy. I'm glad I didn't do that, because you really need to be on your A game, have your thinking cap on, and don't be scrolling your phone while you're watching this with this in the background. And as far as the plot, I don't even want to talk too much about the plot, because I feel like you will benefit from going into this one blind. And I didn't talk too much about this with the previous movie, Extraterrestrial, but I didn't really like the characters in that one. They were all jackasses, unlikable, like people you wouldn't want to hang out with. With It's What's Inside, these are the most like douchebaggy characters who are actually likable that I think I've ever seen in a movie. And maybe it's helpful that I don't know any of these actors. Like, I didn't recognize a single person in this movie, so that might be helpful. But the way they were written, I honestly have never seen such likable, unlikable characters, like likable D-bag characters who you would want to hang out with in this movie. And I thought that really helped a lot to kind of get into their heads and what was going on. And no pun intended if you've seen the movie. But yeah, this is a Netflix original, I believe, or I don't know. It's pretty recent, pretty easy to get a hold of, and I highly recommend it. But again, with the caveat that think of the movie Inception. If you got confused by Inception, maybe stay away from this one. I'm not saying you have to be a smarty pants to watch this movie. You got to be a genius to understand it. You just have to be able to pay attention and kind of be bought into what's going on. So yeah, that's where we're ending today, with one of the best movies I've seen in a while. So I guess my movies of the week here are Sun Above, Death Below, which was awesome, and It's What's Inside, which was also kick-ass, amazing, awesome flick. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.